Albert Breer is now joining us, Monday Morning Quarterback. Okay, Giants reportedly have hired the Bills' assistant GM, and that's an organization that's really well run over the last 5 years. So they're going to hire the number 2 guy in the front office, Joe Schoen. The Giants are. I got no problems with it. The Bills are meticulously run over the last 5 years. But what does that tell me about who they would hire at coach? Is that Brian Daboll? Is that what it's telling me?
Yeah, I think Brian Daboll is certainly in the running. And I don't think the Giants are going to predetermine who they're going to hire as coach, but they're going to listen to their new general manager, because one of the issues over the last few years for them has been the coaching and personnel hasn't always matched up. And so Joe Schoen now jumps in with John Mara and Steve Tisch to help run the coach search. And Brian Daboll is a really interesting name. There's obviously the quarterback development piece of it that we've all seen over the last few years with Josh Allen. But there's also a strong connection to Schoen there, and not just because they worked together in Buffalo. They actually worked together in Miami in 2011, and Schoen was part of bringing Daboll aboard from Alabama in 2018. So I would expect that Brian Daboll is going to get a very real shot at this job, Colin. And then I think there are a couple names of guys that clearly Giants ownership has wanted to talk to all along. Brian Flores is one. He's obviously got the ties to New York. And Dan Quinn, who everybody seems to want to talk to, and who I think is the clubhouse leader to get the job in Denver. He's another one that the Giants have put in a request for and are hoping to talk to over the next few days.
Okay, so Josh McDaniels, he's the longtime Patriot offensive coordinator. His name is now surfaced with the Raiders. And I was telling the team this morning, I said, he's a little bit like the Lane Kiffin of college. They both had an NFL disaster. Both are a little off-putting in their personality. Both have worked with a genius. Both played college football. Both dads were coaches. There's a lot of similarities. But with Lane Kiffin and Josh McDaniels, there is a little uneasiness sometimes, like, if we hire them, are they all in, right? Like, same with Lane. And I think they're both great coaches. So it's interesting. After the Gruden mess, it would not be my first choice, although I think Josh McDaniels could be an excellent hire. What do you make of the rumors?
Well, I think there's reality to it. And look, this goes back a few days now. And the guy who was interviewing for the general manager job in Las Vegas, they flew him out there today. Dave Ziegler is the director of player personnel in New England. And not only is he connected to Josh McDaniels, he went to the same school as Josh McDaniels, John Carroll, Division III in Ohio. And he would have been Josh McDaniels' general manager if Josh McDaniels had gotten the Cleveland job in 2020. So there's a very strong connection between Ziegler and McDaniels. On top of that, the Raiders are interviewing another guy, Champ Kelly, who worked for Josh McDaniels in Denver and who could come aboard maybe as Ziegler's assistant GM if all these things fall into place. And so I think there's reason to believe that there's interest in Josh McDaniels there. And I think one reason why this could be the place that he would go. And I realize why there'd be doubts and, with ownership and everything else, why maybe, he wouldn't be as interested. What I look at here, Colin, is an ability to set up the structure he wants. And really, I think people have kind of gotten a little carried away with the idea that he wants all the power. He doesn't want all the power. He wants a structure that he can work with. And that was sort of what he went into Cleveland with, and saying, if you want to buy into my culture, if you want to buy into my structure, how I want to set things up, great. Then we'll go forward, and I'd love to work here. And if you don't, that's fine. If you want to do it the way that you've been doing it the last 5 years, which is what Cleveland decided to do, it's like, all right, then you can go forward with that. And so I think the idea that the Raiders could be assembling the sort of structure that Josh McDaniels would want, I think at least gives you the indication that they're interested in Josh McDaniels as the head coach, and that Josh McDaniels could potentially wind up there.
So the Jimmy G story is really interesting. So Joey and I were just talking about this, is that, sometimes you don't appreciate people till they're gone. This is the best division in football, NFC West. Rams, Matt Stafford in year 2 with McVay could probably be better. I don't think Seattle's going to be as bad. They'll be better. And Arizona's always got a chin. This is a wildly dynamic, explosive team. And here comes Trey Lance, who will be the 4th best quarterback in that division, at least as a first-year starter. And it does leave you wondering, do you bail on Jimmy G? Do you just flush him out? Like what if Lance struggles? If Jimmy G won this weekend, wins 2 road playoff games, I'm just trading him to Denver. Like, what do you think his future is if he won a game this weekend?
Colin, do you remember how quickly the Chiefs traded Alex Smith in 2018?
I
don't.
Remember
how fast that happened? That happened during Super Bowl week of 2018. They traded him in January. Like, they didn't wait until March. They offloaded him almost right away. And you know why? Because they knew what they had. Like, they had seen Patrick Mahomes in practice. And while the rest of us were looking at it and saying, God, do you want to move on that quickly from a guy who just won 11 games from you? And Alex Smith had the best year of his career, and they had a veteran team. Like, do you really want to do that? And then Patrick Mahomes was the MVP of the league in 2018.
Yeah.
So here's the way I look at it. If they don't move on from Jimmy G this offseason, I think it's a red flag on where Trey Lance's development is. I don't think you can see it any other way. They traded 3 first-round picks to go and get the guy. They took him 3rd overall. They've spent a year developing him. The way I look at it is, if Trey Lance is who they thought he was when they took him 3rd overall, I mean, they should be itching to get him on the field after this year. And I agreed with the idea that they had the sort of team that really necessitated a veteran quarterback. Like, it didn't make sense for the Nick Bosa's and the Deebo Samuels and the Trent Williams of the world to be playing with a rookie quarterback. That was a contending team right now, and that's played out. But he's had his year of development now. He's had his redshirt year. And I think the plan is still to go forward with Trey Lance in 2022 as their starting quarterback and get something in return for Jimmy Garoppolo. But if for some reason they don't, I think that is a red flag on where Trey Lance is, because we know what Jimmy Garoppolo is at this point.
Hey, listen, I know you're a Buckeye, but you have great connections to Michigan because, this year it's been tough for you because Michigan did win, and I know you're sulking about that. I understand that. But I was told, and you have much better sources than I do, I was told about 3 days ago, Jim would take the Raiders job if offered. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he's staying at Michigan. And my gut feeling is he's assembling his staff at Michigan. He will stay at Michigan. I don't say it with absolute certainty. That's my feeling. Just a little update. Are you hearing anything on Harbaugh?
Yeah, I think the defensive line hire last week was significant. And I don't know. I mean, I think that you talk to enough people and they'll tell you, don't try to guess what Jim's doing. Only Jim knows what he's going to do. And you know this, Colin. But I mean, like, there was, and you and I have talked about this, there was, that little grudge that he was holding against the people that made him take the pay cut a year ago.
Yeah.
And I think the idea of making them squirm, making them a little uncomfortable, I think that sort of appeals to him. And so, I think dragging it out as far as he did, that's part of it. I think another piece of it is it really does appeal to him, the idea of going back to the NFL. And I think if we've learned anything over the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's that the stuff that you heard in 2015 and 2016, that Jim Harbaugh still had unfinished business in the NFL after coming so close to winning a Super Bowl in San Francisco, that stuff's true. Like, I think he really does have unfinished business in the NFL, and he wants to get back there at some point. And at 58 years old, after being completely shut out last year, after sniffing around the Jets job, after sniffing around the Chargers job, I think he realizes that opportunity might not be there every year. So if the Raiders put something in front of him in the next few days, can I say, unequivocally he's going to say no to the Raiders? I cannot say that. But I think the likelihood's probably, where you're at, that he winds up back in Michigan.
Hey, by the way, if I know I'm this is not inside information and you're a reporter, but if I said to you, there's going to be an upset in the playoffs this weekend, who would be your upset pick?
Are the Rams an upset? See, that's the thing, right?
Right, kind of.
I mean, I think the Rams found another gear on Monday night, don't you, Colin? I mean, Cam Akers, to me, I was stunned how effective he looked, how explosive he looked 7 months off the Achilles. And I think what you saw, and having talked to people in that organization, you saw the vision for what Sean McVay saw this as back in April and May and June before Akers got hurt. You saw it come to life, which is a power running game unlocking who Matthew Stafford can be. And then you can see the Rams starting to figure out how to use Odell Beckham, how to use Von Miller. Those guys made big plays in that game. And then you look at where the Bucs are, 2 offensive linemen with pretty significant injuries. They're probably going to play through them, but significant injuries in Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen. And they're already down on the offensive side of the ball, Antonio Brown and Chris Godwin. And Leonard Fournette, we'll see what percentage of Leonard Fournette you get on Sunday. I would say the Rams are probably the upset pick, but I go into this game and I'm going to be there, Colin. I sort of see this thing as a pick 'em going in anyway.
I can't wait. Albert Breer, Monday morning quarterback. Listen, I know it's going to be, you got to get over that loss to Michigan. It's okay. You're good. I swear, Ohio State's going to win a bunch of games next year, and it's great seeing you.
All right, you too, Colin. Hey, by the way, the difference between Ohio State and Michigan, Michigan goes 11-2, they throw a parade. Ohio State goes 11-2, they fire half their coaching staff. You can file that one away.
The pettiness was excellent. I love that by Albert Breer. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.